What's going on, guys? It's your boy XQ420. Want to welcome everybody back to another episode, Showtime with the Cube. I'm your host, XQ420. I got my co-host with me, Corey Hughes. How you doing, Corey?
Good. What up? What up?
Oh yeah. If it's your first time to the channel, don't hesitate. Hit the subscribe button. I'll get it out eventually. If you listen to us on podcast platforms, hit the follow button, and we appreciate everybody's support for that. Leave a comment. It also helps with the algorithm. We're trying to get this out to more people, but we do appreciate everybody for checking us out. Corey, today we are going to be checking out a new series that just got released on Disney Plus, Andor. And this is Cassian Andor, and if anybody's seen the movie Rogue One, he is one of the main characters in that particular movie. So this is giving you, I guess, his precursor to him becoming one of the rebel leaders, instilling the plans for the Death Star. So Disney Plus hit us with 3 episodes right out the gate. Okay. Which I thought was it's pretty wild. Have they hit us with this many episodes at one time before?
No, I don't think so.
Did it 2? Yeah, I don't think I've had any shows where they hit us with 3 episodes right at the gate. And these episodes are not 20-minute ones. They're all pretty lengthy. Most of them right around the 40-minute mark, and I don't feel like it's 40 minutes of intro and then outro, like She-Hulk is like you said, a third of the show is is the outro clip. So it's just like,
right.
Yeah. So this seems to have a little bit of substance. So we're starting off episode 1 of Andor, and we're starting off with Cassian, and he's looking for answers in this first episode. He's obviously on the search for his sister. During this particular episode. Now, of course, you don't really know much about why he's trying to look for his sister currently, but that does give you they do give you some background information on how he got to where he is right now later on in the next 2 episodes. But it starts off with him in the city, and he's in. Is this a strip club? Is this a whorehouse? What
it looked like it looked like probably a little bit of both. Okay,
yeah. Like so you could go in there, you can flirt, you can get drunk, and then if you got enough credits, then you can get a happy ending per se. Per se. And Corey, what do you think about this initial scene with him going into this particular club, and what was your initial thoughts on this opening scene?
Okay, so let's just say this up front. Nothing overly original here. We've seen this kind of storyline before. Concerned person gets separated from somebody. They go out looking for him in the seedy places. And then half of the story is usually them trying to track down that person. This is not an original storyline, but that's okay. In my current state of mind with modern entertainment, I don't necessarily need brand new and original. I just need it done. I just need something comfortable and familiar, which this was right from the get-go, and written and pulled off correct. I don't need, new fancy, more things blowing up, that kind of stuff. Just give me some solid storylines. And pulled off by competent actors with some good set design. And I mentioned this to you when I first watched it, but the thing I really, really liked about this series, and it continued past the first episode, was that it didn't feel like Star Wars. And if you didn't tell me that this was Star Wars, I might not have known. I mean, there were enough references within the show for you to know that it was Star Wars. But really, it could have been any star system, any new original plot line. It didn't have to be Star Wars. And I really appreciated that. They didn't shove Star Wars down our throat. They didn't try to have a bunch of funny little robots. I thought that it was it was good because it was something different for Star Wars.
Right. And I felt the same way. And it gives you enough intrigue. Even if you've watched Rogue One, you understand what his final moments look like. Him getting nuked on that beach. You do understand that. But even going back to this, and I do like the prequel parts when on this where even though it's a character that you know, you still can be invested in what his journey is right now. You know what I'm saying? And what
And you have
what
to
he's
think
trying
we only
to
know
accomplish.
him. We only know him from that one film, so there's not like a ton of story on him out there already. You know, I'm sure there's some in the books and comics, but most people don't know that stuff. And so, yeah, it's even though we know what his ending is, and we know that it's a very short amount of time from the beginning of this series until he ends up at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah, it's 5 years. 5 years.
Right.
It's 5 years for that battle.
It's enough to have a short little storyline play out. And it's okay if it's not really overly connected to the bigger picture storylines that we already know to death, you know?
Right. And yet it has been confirmed, Corey, he was in fact in a brothel. Okay, that's in fact where he was at. All right, and I was making that assumption, just from the way the young lady was approaching him and the type of things she was asking him. Now, the actual planet they were on is Morlana 1. And that's where he's on the trail for his missing sister. It doesn't really give you any background on how long he's been looking for her in particular.
Right. You know something,
Right
and thinking about it, I don't really think that any of those details really even matter. You think about what it did for his character so far, right? So right from the beginning, when he's looking for his sister, so you instantly have empathy for the character, right? And then everything he does, you are willing to forgive him because he's a good guy, because he's doing something. He's looking for his sister, right? So he can kill as many people as he has to, but your first impression of him will be one of empathy, and you'll feel for him because he's missing and looking for his sister, right? So they did a good job at shaping your opinion of that character right from the start.
Right. And I can agree with that. Right out the get go. Now, during his time where he was in the brothel, asking the young lady if she knew anything about Canary, which, if I'm correct, was their original home planet. Is what it looks like. If I'm correct, it's a place, Canary. Of course, there's a couple of officers on the other side, and I think they'll be this particular company will be key. I think early on we might move into some of the clones and stuff like that. I think I've seen a couple of photos of them later on getting involved in it once things start to escalate. But our initial villains per se in this is the Pre-Mor Authority. Okay, and they seem to be kind of a henchman for the what do you call that side of the Star Wars? I always want to say the dark side.
the Empire.
Yeah, the Empire. Yeah, I always just want to say the dark side. But they seem to be like the thugs for the Empire. That's what they seem like they are. And it looks like that they kind of overlook territories that the Empire don't have that much interest in. Did that seem like that to you? Because I didn't really see any Empire presence in any of these places where the Pre-War Authority
this is, I believe, as far as timelines go, this is still fairly early Empire. Before the Galactic Senate was abolished, which happened in the first Star Wars, and this is before that. So, yeah, so there might just not be a lot of cohesion amongst the Empire forces yet. So it
Gotcha.
seems like Darth Vader might have to go in and show people what happens when they fuck around.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Yeah, so we move from that, and the two gentlemen, Cassian makes a couple of sly comments to him because they were grilling him on what he was saying to the young lady at the bar, and they end up following him afterwards and trying to shake him down. Now, obviously, they took for granted the type of skill that Andor has. We know he does from seeing him in the alleyway. He does have hand-to-hand combat skill. He is skilled in that manner, and he ends up killing the one guy. I guess when he headbutted him, the guy hit his head on the ground. That's what I'm assuming. And
right, something along those lines.
Yeah. So yeah, and then he quickly took the gun from the other gentleman, and I'm not sure what I was expecting right there, but I mean, he shot him dead right there. I was like, damn, okay. I wasn't expecting that, but it was kind of refreshing. What do you think about that moment? It showed that he'll take that next step. You know what I'm saying? He's not scared. He's not just going to let people go.
Yeah, I didn't think he had much of a choice personally, and as far as the show goes and what I thought the show would do. That to me was the defining moment that showed they're willing to be gritty and they're willing to do things that other Star Wars movies and TV shows won't do, perhaps. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I thought overall, I thought the scene went well. It kind of showed you that, I remember he's looking for his sister. So, and then these guys, they were cops, but they were bad cops. Right. So the circumstances still support that initial assessment of, oh, he's the good guy. Right. So at this point, if my theory holds true, no matter what he does, he's going to be the good guy throughout. So.
Right. Yeah. So you could almost say, because I guess technically they say characters who kill their villains are almost like anti-heroes or kill people. They almost dub them anti-heroes, like they're heroic, but you usually don't want to kill the people. So
right.
So it's like, because like Batman and Captain America, they don't kill anybody. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So, yeah. So I mean, they just beat you down so they can, so you can break out later so they can beat you down again.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but we've seen Cassian. He's willing to take that next step. He's very skilled, obviously, and he's willing to do what needs to be done. And we see that during the Rogue One, that he's willing to do what needs to be done. Now, of course, during this time, he doesn't have any ties to the Resistance, to the Rebel Alliance. So this is his early precursors before he gets involved in that, which I think we're going to probably get, because from what I'm seeing, this is 2 seasons. I think we'll probably get more of that in season 2. The initial season to be strictly him trying to find his sister and whatever plans is. I can't remember the gentleman's name. I'll get to his name right here in a second, that he meets in episode 3. I think this was going to be the bulk of season 1. What do you think, Corey?
Well, I'll be honest. In Star Wars, it feels like they're only willing to introduce new characters from a very limited set of backgrounds, and the backstory seems to be the same. Kind of kid growing up, not grounded, bounced around a lot, probably didn't live with parents. Because Star Wars is ultimately a story about bad parenting. Really. That's what the fuck, across the board, every goddamn problem that could have been solved in Star Wars could have been totally alleviated and avoided if, everyone was just a good parent. That's just it. Everyone was pissed off because their mommy didn't give them a hug. So.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But,
yeah. I forget where I was going with this.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, I'll move. I'll move right along. Of course, right after Cassian takes those two gentlemen out, he immediately gets back on the ship and leaves back to his current planet, Ferrix. And of course, he's in high alert mode because it's obvious throughout the system that killing of these particular officers is not a great thing. And I like that they show urgency within the decision that he made, as opposed to it just being like, yeah, I just killed two dudes, so it ain't that big a deal. You know what I'm saying? so I like that there was some urgency there, like, hey, well, I mean, I just did some shit that's going to have me in in a world of trouble, so I need to make some moves quick. So I like that bit of urgency that they had there. As I've always said, you want your villains or the antagonist to be some type of threat to you. Did you like how they gave him that sense of urgency right after he left, that he needed to make moves immediately?
Yeah, that was good. However, my biggest problem was that the Empire, these low-level guys in the Empire, even after he's told to forget about it, basically by his boss, forget about this incident. It was just
we're talking about that's Cyril Khan is right. Is the gentleman that the main officer is speaking to at that time. Yeah.
Right. He's the younger guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Cyril Khan's the younger guy.
Right.
I'm sorry. Yep.
So he's told by his superior that this was just two bad cops who came up on the wrong guy at the wrong time, and just leave it at that. But he chooses not to, and he continues to dive into the case. So it kind of I must have missed something, because all of a sudden they had an image of our main character. And so that appeared to be like a stroke of luck, or I don't know exactly what happened there. I don't think I missed anything, but then all of a sudden they had his image. So that could have been done a little better. How about you explain that to me if you can?
Well, okay. So that was they were backtracking with the actual the people at the brothel, okay, and the young lady that he spoke to, and that this moves over in a little bit into episode 2, but the young lady that was speaking to him at the bar about Canary, she actually came in and was able to, I guess, give somewhat of a description. So that's where they got it from, and they had initial sightings of him there, and so they pulled that up from that, and it's a old, because it's not of him currently. It looks like of him probably I say probably 5 to 10 years younger.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
he's been on their radar before. So this gives you an indication that his past may have been one of, let's say, criminal activity per se. That's what I would assume, seeing how they had an old photo of him, or somebody who they had flagged throughout. I'm thinking like FBI or something. Somebody they have flagged in the past, and it probably has something to do with his adopted mother, Marva, because they are scavengers, and looks like they would scavenge the actual Empire's fallen ships, because that's how she finds them. So that was, I mean, was it a stroke of luck? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. But another thing that they look at that time that you got to remember, they track down the ship that left there, because the Cyril Karn comes in there and says, "Hey, I need you to find where that ship went." It's like, dude, I got to go through all night stuff and delete all the rest of them. He said, and yeah, so they kind of narrow that down to where they find somebody that they believe is him, and then I think it is confirmed by the young lady from the brothel. So we've got confirmation there, and of course, as you said earlier, the chief inspector, man, he's like, man, don't mess with this dude. Just say that, hey, man, it was a tragic accident. Decorated officers. A nice funeral, and let's move on. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear nothing else about this shit. When I come back, I don't want to hear nothing about it. And of course, this dude, I believe this dude, what this shows from Cyril Karn is that he's going to have a level of ambition to move up the ranks, because that's what it kind of seems like he's doing to me.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if I can catch these guys, maybe I can move up the ranks. You know what I'm saying? So it seems like he's going to be ambitious, but I don't think he's very smart. He's kind of headstrong, and he just kind of plunges into things without having really much of a plan, to be honest.
And he's not confident,
Right.
because he lacks experience.
Right.
He's probably been a bureaucrat in training for most of his career.
Right. And you see that as they're going to Ferrix, and he's trying to give the boys a pep speech, and everybody's just like, okay. and his second in command with him, he says, "Nice speech, sir." Everybody else is just like, he's like, clap, people. And everybody's like, man, this dude ain't no leader. I mean, like they already look at him, and it's like, this dude ain't no leader of men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it seems like he's trying to put himself on a higher pedestal and move up the ranks, which I think that's going to be our main back and forth as far as for the majority of this first season will be between Cyril Karn and Cassian. I think that'll be the majority of it. And I think a little bit later on we'll probably move into where they've got to get more of the Empire involved later on. But we also figure out that we've got he's got some help on Ferrix, and by her name is Brasso. Okay, it's a young lady. Now, this is not a young lady that he's sexually involved with, if I'm correct, because she has a significant other for a short period of time in these first 3 episodes. She's currently dating Tim, but she looks like she's working on some type of craft when he goes and meets her. And he's actually got a Star Path unit, which is Imperial navigation technology, which is obviously something that's very valuable. I don't really remember any of that throughout the Star Wars saga, the early one. Is anything ringing a bell for you on that Star Path unit?
Oh, the Star Path unit? Yeah, that's a unit that just does it does a whole bunch of shit, and that's all I know about it. Star Wars has never really gone into like the parts. Not like Star Trek. Star Trek, like a Star Trek nerd can tell you like the 150 parts that make up a fucking warp drive, right? There's never been a fucking warp drive, but some nerd out there can tell you all the parts and how they fit together to make the warp drive. So, but Star Wars was never really that way.
Yeah, that's true. And I made a mistake. Brasso was his one friend that works in the fields. Bix is the young lady. I'll just make a correction there. They both had B's, so that messed me up. Bix is the young lady who's actually the boyfriend is Tim, and Tim is suspicious of her and Cassian's relationship because they be going off and meeting each other for drinks and shit. They be talking about stuff, and as a man, you probably should be suspicious. Okay, if your woman's going off with some dude, meeting for drinks and having secret conversations. You
Someone's getting a black eye over that shit. Give me a break.
Yeah, so Tim gets real suspicious, and they have there's an actual letter. It's not a letter, but it's a interface that comes through talking about they're searching for a particular gentleman, and he hides it from Bix. At that point in time, Tim does, as he is spying on both his girlfriend and Cassian. And so Bix actually sets up the meeting with the buyer of the Star Path unit which we come to find out later, he actually wants him to join him for something bigger than the Star Path unit. But that pretty much wraps up that first episode there. As far as Andor, how'd you feel about the first episode overall? Good introduction.
Overall, yeah, and I went in with like no expectations really one way or the other. I didn't expect it to try to be like, I thought Obi-Wan was like over the top, with fucking volcanoes and Darth Vader, and like it just had so many things that were more for the wider scale public than for people who might appreciate the darker side or the lesser known side of Star Wars. Because this story is not going to appeal to the majority of Star Wars fans, I don't believe. And not because it's bad, but it doesn't have that Star Wars kind of flair to it. And I think it's going to attract a different kind of audience, a more serious audience.
Right. I could see people who, well, I don't know. Even the Mandalorian had the Force in it, which we may see some Force users later on. Even in Rogue One, they had the one gentleman who used the Force, but he wasn't a Jedi. Before we get to that ending scene with Darth Vader. So,
but wouldn't it be nice if the Force users, like when someone used the Force, it was like, holy shit, he used the Force? Like, wouldn't it be cool if, like, when someone actually did that, it was special again, and it wasn't like every other fucking thing was flying across the room? You know what I mean? Like, for the Force to be used to be special again and used very sparingly, I think would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah. So I can agree with that. So let's see. So that wraps up episode 1. Episode 2. Okay. It goes right into Tim still being suspicious of Bix's relationship with Cassian, and that's when Tim is the one who actually reports Cassian to the Pre-Morse security. Okay. So he's the one who actually gives up Cassian. So that's I thought there was another way that they confirmed that, but Tim was actually the one who got them in that area, who gave them quote unquote the tip. So, but that ends up not working out great for Tim in the end. Not at all. And so we've got Karn. He's partnering up with somebody who seems to have been in the battle multiple times, who was done with stuff like this. That particular gentleman's name is Mosk. What kind of accent he's got? Is it Scottish? Scottish accent?
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah,
it's not something you'd expect from being from another planet.
Yeah. yeah, not at all. And I forgot to mention in the first episode, they did do a flashback to Cassian when he was a young gentleman, and it shows him with his sister at the time, and he leaves his sister as they go and try to see what the wreckage is, not far ahead during that time. So it does show that flashback. You do see a little portion of his sister there, but that's pretty much the only thing you see of his sister initially right there. So we don't know what she looks like right now. All we know, she probably looked about 7 or 8 during that time. You probably say so. He probably was
possibly
around 13. They look like they were probably about, as far as development, probably about 5-year gap in between there. So, yeah, this second episode pretty much just gets right into Cassian trying to actually leave the planet. All right, trying to get his affairs in order, because now he knows that people are on the way for him. Okay, he had a feeling that people might be on the way. But, of course, we see that he doesn't have any money, and he seems to be the type of dude who says, "Hey, man, let me give you something, and I'll get back with you later." Because he's got the one gentleman that he used the man's ship, and he's like, "Dog, I don't need to see you here no more." So it's obvious that that Cassian is the type of gentleman who I don't think he actually does any type of work, like actual work. You know
You mean
what I'm
like
saying?
a deadbeat?
Yeah. It seems like stealing stuff may be his work, which is not surprising, seeing how his adopted mother, Marva, that seems to be their occupation. But she seems to be doing a little bit better than Cassian
Hey, times is
currently.
hard.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, even his friend Brasso early on in the first episode, he was like, "Look, dog, I ain't lending you no more money. Okay, don't ask me for no more credits. All right." I mean, you don't pay well at all. So yeah,
So just a comment on
go
that.
ahead.
That's some really strong character development very quickly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
With our lead character, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
other shows could take some fucking notes here and do a little bit better job with their own shows, because
Mm-hmm.
here, realistically, one or two scenes with one or two lines, and you know who it is that you're dealing with, and you empathize for him, and you realize he's a bum, and you realize you probably shouldn't empathize for him, but he's looking for his sister, so you do, right? So they have developed this complex emotional connection between the viewer and this character by doing very little. And so I applaud them for that. Hopefully it was intentional, not just an accident.
What get that? That is what we hope. We do hope it was intentional. And I can agree with you there that they do give you some good background character knowledge of they give you right out the gate. He's capable of violence. He's not very trustworthy as far as it comes to funds, and he just seems like the type of dude who will lie to you. Okay, I mean it's just so you know things right out the gate about Cassian, so it kind of gives you a background on his character. Now I think he may, we know he becomes more trustworthy in the future. He becomes a leader, so obviously he's got those characteristics as well. Because if you've seen Rogue One, but of course I think this is going to be him working up to that particular moment, seeing how this is 5 years before. So with Karn and Mosk, they're pretty much set up. They're on the way to try to arrest Cassian, and I was just sitting there the whole time, and I was just like, man, when your superior finds out that you went directly against the order, man, I don't think it's going to go well for you. That's what I was thinking the whole time. What you think, Corey?
Well, I really didn't analyze that scene in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are into episode 2.
Mm-hmm.
And have we met the buyer yet? The buyer
yes. So the buyer is on an initial ship. You do see him on that, which his name is Luthen Rail. Okay, and during this episode, we do see him on transport going to Ferrix. Doesn't really give you any type of background on him at all, actually. In episode 2 or 3, we just know he's interested in the actual Starpath unit, and he's on the way to buy it. He's a man of
mystery, and the impression thus far is that he's well backed, which would indicate that he's on one of the big major sides, So that's what we're gathering thus far. So our main character sets out at this point to establish transport off of the planet.
Right.
And he then, at this point, after that is secure, he goes back to close the deal on this piece of technology with the potential buyer. Take it from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As the potential buyer, and from there, it goes into the moment where They're starting to initially come to the planet, and we've got Bix in a rush, in a tizzy. Tim also has, of course, ratted out Cassian, unbeknownst to Bix, which at the end of the day, I don't know. Tim probably moved a little bit too brashly there. Okay, he probably should have, I don't know, maybe talked to Bix about what was going on, maybe asked her a question or two just before he just went and ratted her out, because you got to think about this. Now you're getting this particular faction on your planet when they really had no actual power over the planet, even though it was in their jurisdiction. They didn't actually have any officers on the ground, any boots on the ground.
Right.
So it wouldn't even make sense, seeing how they seemed like they would be a threat. Yeah, seeing how they wasn't a threat to your way of life and your planet, why you would introduce them to your planet to put you on the radar. You know what I'm saying? Because that could end up having adverse effects for not only your business, other people within the area. So he made a key mistake there. All right, he didn't think long term. It's like, okay, Primor Authority, they have jurisdiction here, but they never seen officers here. So why would I want to bring officers here? With the more than likely the type of work they're doing has to do with probably stuff that's stolen and things of that nature. So it just wouldn't make any sense for him to want to call attention to that particular planet, seeing how the Empire, none of them was messing with them anyway. What do you think about that?
Yeah. And also, you got to think, they probably underestimated the situation, because they brought 12 guys and 2 officers, 14 people total, just to pick up one guy. And so they probably went in very overconfident. And yeah, I guess that it was the wrong call.
Right. It was wrong call. Wrong call for them at the end, but wrong call for Tim overall, as we see actually in episode 3. And in episode 2, we actually have the flashback to Casa, as that's what they called him when he was in the tribe in Canary, and they actually locate a fallen ship, actually a couple fallen ships of the Empire, and they are currently checking it out. Now, the young lady seems to be the leader of their coalition, and she goes down, and of course she's nudging the bodies. But here's something that I was just like, guys, was anybody gonna say anything when my man that was on the ground stood up? You think somebody would have yelled something? Get down behind you. Nobody said nothing. They let the man stand up and then shoot their leader. I was like, and then they proceeded to shoot him up with a bunch of the look like the blow spikes. I'm just like, why would y'all let him shoot your leader? Why wouldn't the minute he started standing up, hey, get down, and everybody starts shooting at him? You know what I'm saying? I mean, man got right up and shot her. I was just like, bud, I mean, y'all ain't good followers. Y'all supposed to be protecting the leader. You know what I'm saying?
I did like the blow darts, though. That was somewhat original.
Oh yeah, it was. So it lets you know right there that Cassian's from a more primitive area as far as their technology and their way of life. Once again, giving you some background of who Cassian is. And some of the things that
some things that we don't know about him yet are how old was he when he left the planet? How old was he when it was destroyed? We find out in this episode 3, that there was some sort of industrial accident and the planet became unlivable, if I'm not mistaken. And so we don't know how old he was and what his experience was after that, and how long he had been away from his home world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't told us
Yeah.
any of that stuff yet, and that could play a very important role.
Yeah, and from what I was assuming, like I said, with his age, it looked more. I would say probably about 12 to 13. Okay, so I would say he's probably been off his homeland for probably at least 10 years. I would seem to dub him probably in his early to mid 20s. Just from looks. So I think he is a little bit away, and it really hasn't gave you anything. Has he been looking for her this entire time? As we said before, is this something that all of a sudden he just got interested in because of something that he's recently seen or some rumblings he's heard? So I think a lot of that's going to be brought forth in later episodes. Now from there, they actually take the leader away as she's shot down. Okay, they kill the guy. They fill him up with about 30 of those little blow darts. I mean, they filled my man up. I said, damn, Bo, and the dude's tough, man. I said, man, this dude's tough, man, because they kept shooting him. They had to shoot him a whole lot. I'm like, Bo, he ain't dead yet. So I mean, hey, I gave it to my man. The man was tough, but eventually it took him out, and they take the leader away. But of course, Cassian stays behind because he's interested in that particular ship, and that's where it moves us over into episode 3. Okay, and this is the episode where we have Luthien Rail and Cassian finally meet up. All right, they finally meet up talking about the Starpath unit in a. I guess technically it was an abandoned building.
Right.
And at this point in time, they have the actual troops put their feet on the ground from the Primor Authority. So at that point in time, they have went actually over to Marva's house because obviously they knew exactly where to go. Okay, I mean,
Yep,
I mean they knew exactly where to go immediately, and they gave her a shakedown. Now, the name of his droid is B2EMO, and I think it is it standard in every, no matter how much of the Force or whatever they use in the Star Wars. There's always got to be a droid in one. I think that's an automatic.
Yeah, that's a given.
Yeah. From what I'm saying, I'm like, okay, so they're gonna have a droid no matter what. All right, so I guess this is gonna be the droid of this particular series, B2EMO or B2EMO, however you want to say it. So Karn, Mosk, they land boots on the ground with a dozen of security officers. Of course, they come in there at the Marva's place. She refuses to cooperate. Of course, she's going to try to protect her stepson. I guess technically we can call him her stepson, right? You know what we call him?
Yeah.
Adopted. Yeah, so adopted. But of course, in true Lucky fashion, Karn attempts to talk. What he does, no, not Karn, but Cassian talks to his droid and pretty much tells all the officers where he's at. I was like, Cassian, boy, you got some bad luck, bro. I was like, Cassian, Bo, I mean, you want to talk about, poor timing. Now, they were about to try to get the droid a shakedown to see what they can figure out for him. But, hey, I mean, Cassian spilled the beans right there. So, of course, they do a breakup. And I thought they were going to interrogate Marva a little bit more. I'm a little surprised that they didn't, like, hold her hostage or anything. See, somebody who was keen on leadership skills and things of that nature would have been like, okay, if I hold her hostage, then maybe I can get Cassian to come out and give himself up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, but, I wasn't really holding it to a very high standard, and I just kind of enjoyed how it played out.
Okay.
I really, when it came to when it came to the little things like that, I just kind of like let shit fly because I wanted to enjoy something for once,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually did. I did definitely enjoy this I enjoyed it far more than any of the other shows that we've reviewed here. So yeah, I'm trying not to be overly critical of it because we're going to have errors, right? We have a character with a short lifespan ahead of him, and we all know it, right? So I don't expect the world. Just a bunch of cool little side stories with some ships blowing up, and I will be happy.
Right. And I think the pacing throughout these episodes were pretty good. And another thing that I did enjoy about this is the fact that it didn't try to just throw random comedy in it. That's what I liked.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I mean, it's like, nothing funny is going on. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So it's just so there's no need for random comedy. And I think when we're watching a whole lot of Marvel right here recently, they almost get too much into throwing comedy in there. It's just like, it's time for a serious moment.
Even the droids, their cuteness is kind of toned down. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of focus put on the droids being overly cute like they have been in most other Star Wars.
Right. So I like the heightened sense of the seriousness of the moment.
Yes.
The fact that they maintained that theme and didn't at any point in time try to, even when they introduced the other characters, Tim, Bix, Brasso, maybe Brasso and Cassian had a moment of banter, but it wasn't anything over the top. You know what I'm saying?
And that's something that they need to really come to grips with, is that not every Star Wars and not every Marvel and not every franchise new film or TV show, it doesn't have to be over the top. People are sick of over the top. And to go the direction that something like Andor did, I really appreciate. I do. I really appreciated it because it was subtle. Not a whole lot happened, but a whole lot of story got told in a very short amount of time. And I think 3 episodes in set a really good foundation for where the show is going to go. But yet there's still a ton we don't know. So there's a lot of mystery ahead. So yeah, they have a lot of potential here. I hope they don't screw it up. And I have a feeling they're not going to.
Yep. And so from there we have the meeting of Rail and Cassian in the actual abandoned building, and they just kind of have a back and forth there. He's trying to get the money. He wants to see how it works. Rail does, of course, but I'm wondering if Rail knows more about Andor than what he has let on initially, because he sees some type of he sees more in Andor than what Andor sees in himself. You know what I'm saying? Andor he's just doing this trying to make a quick buck. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's just trying to get the credits so he can pay a bill so he can eat tomorrow. So we understand what his ambitions are in selling this particular item. And it seems like Rail is more interested in Andor than he is about the item, because as the battle ensues, he says, man, just leave the item. You're more valuable than the item. So,
yes.
So I think
it's a little weird.
Yeah,
it's a little strange.
There's some things.
He might know some things. If not, he's a perv. And I don't think that's the direction they're going to take it. So, but no, it is weird. That kind of approach is odd, right? Did he set up the buy just so he could meet him? Was the whole thing about meeting him?
Exactly. That's what it kind of seems like. Just the whole approach of that. It just seemed just like, I just need to meet this dude because of something. Now, I think it's going to be revealed later on. He might know something about Kenari. He might know something about the background of his family. There might be connections within that. Is there potential there? I think there's all kind of avenues open for that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely see it going in that direction. And honestly, it's okay to be a little predictable, you know?
Oh yeah.
It's okay to be a little predictable, and so I'm okay with it going in that direction.
Yeah, because
But
he immediately
we'll see.
yeah, because immediately when he gets in there and starts talking to Cassian, he starts talking about him. Hey man, this is this movement we got going on. You need to join this alliance, and he just moves right into that realm of questioning, of trying to get him on his side. And maybe it's because he was able to procure one of these units when maybe Rail knows how hard it is to procure one of these, which you have to go through. So it's like, oh, if he can get one of these units, how valuable can he be to our cause to the Rebel Alliance? That may be something to do with it as well. If he's able to procure a unit like this, the stuff how he was able to infiltrate these places,
Possibly,
and
but it didn't.
them. Mm-hmm.
It's possible, but it didn't feel that way. It felt more personal,
Right, right,
bordering
right. Okay,
on
yeah,
the creepy. So, but you never know. So ultimately, he goes and meets him for the deal, and there's a big shootout with the. They're not Imperials yet, right?
No, they're not. They're just they're technically they're almost
part
like
of they're part of the Galactic Republic still, because the Republic is still intact, because the Republic isn't disbanded until the first Star Wars movie, which is later on.
Yeah. So what could I technically call them if we're thinking it in a literal sense? So it's almost like security guards on a campus. That's what they're like. They're like security guards on a campus. You know what I'm saying? They're not the police, but they're like hired. So in the area I'm in, the college is nearby. There's a group that's hired called Allied Universal, and they're like security officers, but they're not police. They're not sheriffs. They're not police of the area.
They're
not
a bunch
even
of jabronis.
They're not even the college police. It's just the jabronis. I guess you could say that they're jabronis, guys. That's what they are. So this Primor Authority seem like the jabronis of the universe currently, with the way they approach things. Now Bix finds out that Tim ratted out Cassian, which that's not a good way to keep the booty, man. You know what I'm saying? That was Tim's booty. That's not a good way to keep the booty, man. That's a bad way to keep the booty. And of course, she's immediately pissed, and she's going to try to find Cassian to let him know what Tim has done. And she gets stopped by a couple of the Primor security, and they just stop her randomly, just ask her why she's running. You know what I'm saying?
Because she looks all paranoid and shit. It's like, bitch, just be a little more subtle. Jesus. The fuck? What a horrible spy you'd be.
Yeah, she's not. Hey, look, she wears her emotions on the sleeve. But what gets even probably the dumbest move that somebody's made so far. They lock her up on the side of the building, and then they've got Tim sees her, and he yells out, and they pull their guns out, and they're like, "Stop!" And yet he just continues to charge for it with no plan, and they shoot him dead right there in the street. I said, so much for Tim, babe. Just like that, Tim's gone. I mean,
just like that, yeah.
Man.
It was a little harsh. I didn't think he needed to die, but I couldn't really figure out the relationship between her and him. It was kind of a reluctant thing on her part. It seemed.
Well, like she did go over and have sex with him. No, she did have sex with him the night before. Like she came over, and I'm assuming that she stayed the night. So, I mean,
I guess I don't know. I don't mean everything sometimes.
They didn't seem lovey dovey. You know what I'm saying? They didn't seem like the connection went there. Like it's like she almost had more of a connection with Cassian, which he may have hit in the past. We may get on some of that. But Tim's gone. So you know what that lets me know right out the gate? That they are not afraid in this series, because of course it seems that it's going to be two seasons. They're not afraid to put characters down. Okay, we have seen that they are not afraid. If you're in this show, you're in danger. Okay, so once again, that's something that I like. We've got to make the antagonist dangerous, and we've seen this a lot right here recently, where the antagonists in shows aren't really dangerous to anybody. So I did like that aspect. What do you think, Corey?
Well, I think that they have still a long ways to go in as far as establishing the larger scale framework that we're working within, right? Because that team that was deployed didn't really demonstrate a lot of strength. They showed that they were not coordinated. And that is that the state of the Empire currently. They didn't really make that clear. They have some clarification to do there. Overall, though, I like where it's going. I did like how they kind of tried to show that I can't recall his name. You just said it a minute ago. The head of the Empire team.
Oh, Karn, yeah,
Karn,
yeah.
So he's ambitious, but also he's a little out of his league. And I like how they're developing his character, because I have a feeling over the I don't know how many years this will be on, but as the show develops, so they will develop that character and make him hard as nails. And I think that would be an interesting development to see over time. So yeah, they have a lot that they can do here within the limited framework of we know what happens to him ultimately, right? The main character.
Right. Yeah. So, I actually like what you said there about building the particular antagonist up, as far as him hardening throughout his failures, as far as trying to capture Cassian, and maybe even changing his approach, because as they got out of that building, they actually set up a diversion. With a cruiser that they sent out, and of course they lit the cruiser up. They thought they had him, and the Karn actually gets, which I'm surprised they didn't shoot him right there. They just tied him up. But of course, you got to keep Karn around. That lets you know when Cassian and Rail, when they found Karn and they just tied him up. I say, okay, so that lets me know that Karn's going to be a main cog in this story. At least throughout the first season, seeing how they just tied him up and they didn't shoot him on the spot, seeing how Cassian had no problem shooting other officers on the spot. So that let me know, okay, so we got to keep this particular character around. This is going to be the guy that's going to have some type of journey himself, which I think to make a good show, the villain or the antagonist of the particular show has to have a journey as well. What do you think about that?
Oh yes, there'll definitely be journeys, and one of the themes that we've seen in Star Wars before is that the bad guy was once an okay guy that over time became hardened and deeper into the dark side. There are some exceptions, but that is a theme that we've seen throughout all Star Wars. And maybe there's hope we can reach, the him that's still deep inside, right? So it could be nice to see this character development in Karn, but they can still blow it. So I'm trying not to get hopes up, but I'm also leaving an open mind to what they can do with the show going forward.
Yeah, another thing that they had going on is when the actual officers landed on the ground and the people of the town figured out what they were there for. They had a unison of beating of random objects. So
yes,
so it's obvious
it was a signal.
So it's obvious that this city had been under some type of siege before, maybe by the Empire, or maybe by this particular Primor authority in the past. And so that gives you some type of background that that maybe they have endured something like this before. And so I think they may be key in the future as far as more people for the particular Rebel Alliance. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it seems like, and we've seen this in like Boba Fett and Mandalorian on Tatooine, that these small communities on the outskirts that don't really have a lot of resources, they seem to get shaken down pretty frequently by various groups, whether it be the Empire or just some mobsters or whatever. Someone's always coming to take their shit. So they probably have that system in place based on their experience of being shaken down so many fucking times, right? They know as soon as that goes off, what to do, who to hide, what goods to stash,
Yep.
all that stuff.
Yeah, because the one guy who Andor was initially trying to sell to, he immediately closed up shop. People closes their shops up, lock doors. It's just like, okay, so this has happened before. This isn't anything new. So this has happened to them in the past, and they almost got like a citywide plan on what to do when these particular boots meet the ground. So I did think that was very interesting, and something to look for in the future. If this particular city is going to be with the people in anywhere anyway reused in some type of battle against the Pre-Mor Authority, because we've got to believe that they're going to end up sending reinforcements at a later date to try to track Cassian down. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So that pretty much wraps up the first 3 episodes. Cassian and Rael, they leave town. Okay, Karn is left there embarrassed. All right, he's almost like in disbelief. You know what I'm saying? He's almost in denial. The look on his face. He's just like, how did I let him slip by me? I've got
not only that,
people.
He's probably never experienced anything like that. He never probably saw anybody ever get killed in front of him. Probably saw no field action whatsoever. So that probably played a part into his reaction.
Right. Yeah, because of course when they walk up to that to the cruiser that they shot up, it explodes. So those people right there, they got taken out. So yeah, it's like like you said, the field action, the actual seeing of bodies being beat up, being tied up, like that's all new to him. He just seems like the type of dude who just pushes pens and pencils, you know what I'm saying? Writes up paperwork, you know what I'm saying? Tells somebody what to do, and then he goes home to a nice cushy room and nice soft couches, you know what I'm saying? Nice linens. That's the type of dude he seems like he is. So it's been very interesting to see how his tactics improve, how much more ruthless he gets in the future. And, of course, the last thing is that it does do the final flashback to where Mara and I'm assuming this is her husband, Clem, the black guy, where they discover Cassian and Kenari on that particular ship. And they actually take him in, even though Clem's like, hey, leave his ass here. So she actually takes him in. So it shows you that moment of where she takes Cassian in. So we do get that little bit of a flashback there. So I'm assuming that we're going to have multiple flashbacks throughout Cassian's childhood to show some of the interactions between him and Mara, especially early on, seeing how he doesn't seem to know their language as well. Because they got a whole different language set. So I expect to see more flashbacks throughout, and I do like how they did the flashbacks here. It wasn't nothing over the top, just enough to give you a little bit of details along the way.
Yes, for sure.
Yep. So yeah, that's the first 3 episodes of Andor. Overall, I'd probably say 6.5 out of 10 cubes.
I was leaning towards 6.75.
Okay.
That would be like 7 for 2 of the episodes and 6.5 for 1 of the episodes. And in some universe, that equals 6.75. So,
yep.
I think that's a fair score. And hey, if they can bring that up to a 7, I'll be rather pleased. Get it up to a 7 and maintain a 7. That's all I expect from them.
Yeah. Now, people on IMDb have been rating this very highly. We're talking about so I'm just gonna go through these ratings, Corey. First 2 episodes were 7.4 out of 10. The last episode people loved, and I can see why people loved that episode because that had the most action in it. Of course, it was 8.7 out of 10.
That's a little high.
Yeah. But that's what you want to see from your viewers. You want to see that people are getting you getting a good response back from people as far as the show goes. So that's what you want to see. And I can see how people are giving an over the top response, seeing how some of the other media that's out currently. It just leaves a little bit to be desired.
This is who? Disney Plus, right? I bet you this is one of their lowest budget shows compared to everything else they got going on.
Yeah, probably so.
Hopefully they'll learn a lesson from that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to dump a ton of money in CGI. If you got good stories and good characters, people will fucking watch, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I can't agree with you more there. And I think that the basis of the storyline, even though we know how it ends, it still has you intrigued on this particular character's journey to him getting up to be a leader of the Rebel Alliance. So it's got me intrigued so far. We both seem to be enjoying it there. So that's going to wrap up the first 3 episodes of Andor. If you guys have not checked it out yet, I'm not sure why you sat here and listened to us this whole time. Go watch the damn episodes, okay? Go watch the episodes. You will enjoy it. It is it's quality TV. We can agree with that, right, Corey? Quality.
Correct.
Quality. So in the land where quality is few and far in between, this is one of those times where I can say they actually did a pretty good job. And I think a lot of times when it comes to the Star Wars stuff, if I'm gonna have Star Wars like this, then I want it like this and less of the Force. If I've got my Star Wars where I know there's gonna be Jedis in it, I want more Jedis in it and then less of like Cassian. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yep.
So I think sometimes they that balance is off.
I want as little Star Wars influence in this show as humanly possible. Like, I want this show to be able to stand on its own, aside from it being part of a Star Wars franchise. Like, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Right. And it seems to be well on its way for that. So, we appreciate everybody for checking us out on this episode of Showtime with the Cube. We will be back. We'll be covering this in its entirety. Looks like this is going to run all the way up to right before Thanksgiving. So it's 12 episodes in this first season. So we will be bringing y'all breakdowns and our thoughts on all those episodes. And we're really excited to see where this one goes because this seems like it could be a banger. So any final thoughts for the people out there, Corey?
No, I'm just thrilled to finally be reviewing something that was good. Right.
And the Rings of Power may get better.
It could. I'm leaving an open mind.
Yeah. I think they got like 3 episodes left for something to happen this first season. So maybe that'll get better a little bit later on. The other show we're covering, She-Hulk, we know that almost has zero hope. So. So it's like, RIP for that thing. You know what I'm saying? Pour one out for the homies. So we appreciate everybody for checking us out on this episode of Showtime with the Cube from your host, XQ420, and my co-host, Corey Hughes. We will catch y'all on the next one. And, Corey, we need to do some trailers. We need to do trailers.
Yes. We'll do trailers.
We need to do that.
Very soon.
Okay, so we're going to do trailers for y'all. We're going to have multiple breakdowns on trailers. There's some stuff that looks very intriguing that should be coming out soon. So be on the lookout for that. We appreciate everybody for checking us out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit that follow button if you listen to us on podcast platforms. We will catch you on the next one. Peace out.